9 right now. Let's check out what's trending online with today's Hawaiian Telecom social scene. And everyone loves a good comeback story, right? So what about cassette tapes?
Well, cassette tapes are making a huge comeback and are trending right now. In the first half of this year, cassette tape sales more than doubled. If those numbers hold, it would represent the best year of tape sales since 2003. So why, you might ask? Well, some experts believe a younger generation recognizes the superiority of analog sound over digital. And cassette tapes are also durable, surviving years of storage and being dropped on the floor numerous times. And just in case you're wondering, a few of the best-selling cassettes of 2020, Lady Gaga and Selena Gomez.
I just love this video that we're looking at of some of the old cassette tapes and the headphones. And that brings us to our question of the morning. What was your first cassette tape or one that you still might have? Just leave us a comment on our KH2 Facebook page, and if you still have some, take a picture of it and post it, please. And we'll share some of them later this morning. Because I know some people might be looking at it going, what is that player thing?
Yes.
It looks a little weird. And those are not AirPods. They're some kind of like, I don't know, weird looking headset. But do you still have a cassette, Christine?
I have to check at my parents' house because I remember there's a drawer in my bedroom with cassette tapes where I used to put them. And I remember one of my firsts was Michael Jackson, Off the Wall. That was one of my first cassette tapes. Do you remember the outside of what it looked like? It was red. I also had the Grease soundtrack cassette tape. So I got to go look. How about you, Ross?
I'm like you. Like, if I go to my parents' house, there's some, like, in the drawers that I remember noticing. But it's my older siblings that had a bunch of cassette tapes, and I would always listen to theirs and kind of, like, try. Then you take that jump off the deep end and you try and make your own cassette tape. And you have to time it perfectly. Oh, there's a lot of trouble there. But leave us a comment on our KH2 Facebook page, and we'll get to some of them later in the show. All right, coming up next, Kelly.
Advances in technology are providing new ways to listen and enjoy music. But could a recording and playback format from the past be making a comeback? Specifically, we're talking about audio cassette tapes. Fox's Matt King takes a look.
I'm the only one left on the East Coast that's still custom loading audio cassette tapes.
A 5-foot-tall Goodfellas poster looks down on 55-year-old Dominic Salvatore and the same machines affectionately named the Three Wise Kings, with which he founded National Recording Supplies in Greenwood Heights 28 years ago.
We keep them going. You know, it is kind of tough to find parts.
In the 90s, the Three Wise Kings cranked out 3 million cassette tapes a year. In 2019, Salvatore manufactured 1 million tapes, and that represented his best year of sales in more than a decade.
The format is growing in popularity once again.
In the first half of 2020, cassette tape sales more than doubled. If those numbers hold, it would represent the best year of tape sales since 2003.
Analog has always been a much warmer, natural sound to the human ear.
And Dominic believes a younger generation has finally recognized the superiority of that sound to the tinny notes of digital recordings.
Justin Bieber just released some of his albums, I believe, on audio cassette tapes as well.
And now search for electronic relics to play their cassettes.
They're actually finding most of the equipment on eBay.
One of only a few tape manufacturers left in this country, Dominic credits much of his survival in this new millennium to the domain name he chose back in the 90s, tapes.com.
We used to co-sponsor the Mixtape Awards years ago as well.
Tapes, with their ability to record the radio or their owner's voice on top of or in addition to existing tracks, allowed for a level of originality unseen in previous formats.
You could be more creative and artistic with the mixtape. It was your own personal creation.
And tapes last, surviving dropped Walkmans, muddy car floors, and years of storage.
We found that cassettes have an average life span of close to more than 100 years.
By himself, the business's only employee during this pandemic, taking, loading, and packing every order, Dominic, at the helm of the Three Wise Kings, can manufacture 5,000 tapes a day.
We can make cassettes anywhere from 1 minute all the way right now to 96 minutes in length.
And whether the recent spike in the format's popularity represents only a blip in the tape's demise or a more sustainable trend, Dominic plans to continue producing blank tapes for DJs, bands, recording studios, musicians, authors, and home audiophiles.
I'll stick around for as long as I can. For as long as there's a demand for the format, I'm willing to stay here and keep producing it for them.
In Greenwood Heights, I'm Matt King.
Ah, yes. Before the digital downloads and CDs, there was the tape cassette. Perhaps you made a mixtape back in the 80s or 90s.
Yes.
And if you can believe it, they are making sort of a comeback. Soon, one company will be the only one left on the planet making them.
You're kidding me. Team 12's Taylor Hemnes takes us for a trip through the past and into the future. Plus, play, record right now.
The building was built in the 1880s. Most of the equipment inside
built in the 1960s, 70s, 80s. And as we say, our really new equipment was built in the early 90s.
But try telling the folks at National Audio that their product is extinct.
When I started here, my son, he told me, he says, you don't want that job. The cassettes are going out of business. And I've been here 16 years.
They're making cassette tapes, cranking out thousands every day. Every step includes a process or piece of equipment that feels like it's from another time.
It will run them through, put the cellophane wrap on them, bring them out this end, and put them here.
They're working with small bands that you may have never heard of, but also big companies. For films and shows that you know well.
We do the duplication for Disney, for Sony, and we actually work for about 3,400 record labels worldwide.
Which may explain who's buying all these tapes.
The people who are really driving this return to audio cassettes are the under 35 age group. They are the people who were raised knowing MP3s and earbuds and compressed music.
But what the people here at National Audio Company are most excited about is this machine. Once it's up and running in just a few months, they will be able to make their own cassette tape, the actual tape that goes into the plastic part of the cassette. Once they do that, with this machine, they'll be the only company in the world doing it.
This is the bonding agent in carbon black, basic iron oxide.
All that will go into the creation of the tape they'll need to stay in business.
We knew we had to make tape if we were going to continue, so that's what we've done.
But in a sense, they're not really in the tape business. Barb's been here for more than 15 years and spends her days covered in the stuff. But she doesn't see it as just tape anymore.
This is somebody's dream, and I hope it works out for them.
Even if she's happy to leave those dreams at work.
Oh, I don't listen to music when I get out of here. I want some peace and quiet.
She used to listen to it constantly. I remember my first cassette tape was Gloria Estefan.
Now that is classic.
Oh my gosh. Come on, baby. I loved it.
Yeah, mine was Pearl Jam 10. There's something so personal about making the cassette tape, right? You choose your songs carefully, then you handwrite in each song. Right?
Yes.
Then you give it to your crush or to, you know, your best buddy.
Did your crush like Pearl Jam?
No, that was just my first cassette tape.
National